You take drugs, Danny? Every day. What's the problem? I don't know.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Some more. Let's get some more.
Well, hello and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king, and we are talking about that today. We are talking about Stonebreaker from Kansas City, right in Mike's back door. This is where this one's taking place. This one is a blend of Irish whiskey and American whiskey. The American whiskey is their double malt that they already have called Gully Town, blended with an unnamed Irish. Mike, who is it?
Killing
whiskey. So that it is a pretty interesting partnership that they have. They do have a wonderful lineup where they do have the Sons of Erin, where it is all the Irish whiskey and the 15. They also, like I said, they have the Gully Town. They have a couple other nice releases that are using nice combinations of what they're doing. 2016, and Benny and Michael Shannon established Restless Spirits Company and are starting to produce some interesting stuff in Kansas City, and is another reason why I think that Kansas City is becoming a quiet hotbed for whiskey. You guys, quietly, you have 6, 7, 8 distilleries all almost within the city. It's pretty tight, and not enough people are talking about what's going on there. One other thing before we get started, it's going to be hard to see, but they're one of these groups that puts a cool picture on the inside back of the bottle, which I fucking love. Oops, this isn't getting monetized, but that's okay. So we are going to get moving around. Let's get right into the nose and see what everyone has to say about this. Oh, and for the stat whores, because I forgot, batch 14, bottle 869. And, oh, my eyes, I can't get in there. Looks like it's 46% alcohol by volume, so not just at 40, a little bit higher rate. Very nice bottle they have for a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Really unique shape. Gully Town has a nice picture on it, too.
They have very nice packaging. So I get you can tell there's Irish or Irish influence on there.
Yep.
But I get the vanilla, but then old lemon flavored wax candy, like the wax bottle caps.
Yes. Waxy. And look, I'm going to be straight up. When I first poured this, the first nose, it really put me off because it smelled straight up like cheap olive oil. And then after a few minutes in the glass, all that dissipated. Yeah, all that dissipated, and I got more of the Irish. I'm getting there's a little bit of a fruitiness to it with the honey. I can pick up a little bit of that kind of buttery note. But there's still this kind of a bit of a creamy, like a light olive oil note to it. It's odd. It's not as intense, and it's not putting me off like it first was, but it's just, I've never smelled that in a whiskey before.
The waxy soda wax things, or little wax sodas.
It's like a baker's white chocolate.
Yes. Thanks.
You ever make that homemade Play-Doh for your kids with like flour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it smells. I'm getting a little bit of a hint of that in there.
I'm getting this bright, like citrus, but not like lemon. It's almost like a chemically lemon, not like straight lemon. Let me try. I'm gonna try something different here. We're gonna try a little different tactic just to. It's like almost like an alcoholic little menthol note to it. Peppermint.
Yeah, I get it. There's a muted mint that I get.
There's muted mint. Sorry, when I rubbed it in my hands, that really.
that one that when it gets to that part where there's just that little bit of funk, it's hard to get past it. Hard to get past it, and I don't mean like it's putting me off. I mean like it seems like that's the end of where I could pick something up.
And almost like a little bit of a hay note.
Yeah,
Yes.
I get that.
Yep.
Grassy hay, like a green grassy hay.
And then all of a sudden you'll get this. It's like the clouds part, and you get that fresh, that real Irish whiskey note to it. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
And then you get back to the funk, and you get back to the hay, and you get some of the other stuff. And it's not that any of it's necessarily bad, and I don't feel like it's exactly incongruent or it's fighting with each other, but there's just all these different weird notes, interesting notes coming through.
Is anyone getting in this? Just I could be wrong. Like just the smallest hint of like coriander.
Yeah. That's right there. And I think that's playing along with that lemon that you're talking about too.
Yeah. Okay, you know what it reminds me of? It as far as a feeling, not the actual smell. A damp potpourri.
I was gonna say wet dog for a second. I was like,
Well, what kind of dog though?
no, I guess you're right. I know, but I'm just
An Irish setter?
that would be appropriate, wouldn't it?
A stud or a bitch?
No comment. Yeah, it's
Bradford pear.
I guess I'd like there to be like one more fruity note in it, I feel like I'm missing that. You know, like maybe a richer fruit note to it.
Yeah, the overall buttery biscuit Irish, you don't pick that up. There's a hint of it, but you don't really pick it up, and I don't get the fruitiness from an Irish. And it's like there's something that's covering it and is stopping you from penetrating it with your nose.
Okay.
Again, none of it's bad. It's
Right.
just it's hard to pull the stuff out.
Yeah, it's you said waxy. There was this waxy note to it, and that's what I'm picturing. It's almost like a wax cap, like it's sealed in wax.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get the other scents are trying to come through, and it's filtering that and kind of holding it back.
Or even eating the wax filled candies, you get that flavor, but then once that wax starts spreading out, it's like holding everything back. But those flavors are still there, and you get hints of them.
You're not supposed to swallow those.
What?
You're not supposed to swallow those
Not
things.
supposed to swallow gum either? Okay, totally different on the palate.
Whoa.
It's a sharp alcohol note, like partway through.
Mm-hmm. Light honey, coriander. Like a lemon pledge, not lemon.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it starts to get more of like an alcohol note. And once you get to that alcohol note burn, and it's not heavy. It's not like it's a heavy alcohol note. Like this is extremely drinkable. Mike's right. It's almost like at that point it switches to barrel, and it's just barrel at the end with a little bit of butter still, but not a lot.
Go in again, and then the alcohol dies down. So maybe that's the ploy. You got to drink half this bottle to understand it. Then there you go. So you have a deep understanding of this.
Deep penetrating understanding.
You've been intimate with this bottle.
Yeah. I get the grassiness. I get the lemon, which on the front end, it almost reminds me of a Midwestern rye, a young rye in that way. And
See that?
There's a waxiness to it. And then for me, it goes to just kind of a cheap white chocolate with a little twinge of a raspberry fruitiness to it. And then you get that barrel spice starting to just kick in, and it kind of takes over.
Yeah, it took the fourth big sip of it to lose the alcohol burst.
And I get buttered biscuit right before that spice and heat comes over to kind of dampen that out. Like it's right as it gets to the Irish that I think like the mix here with the double malt starts to lay in over it.
But see, I'm losing. I'm me personally. I'm losing the Irish on the palate.
It's fading. It fades. It's hidden.
Yeah, it's like it's being beaten away.
Yeah.
It's really faint, and it's just like this little thread that just it goes down, it's gone, and you barely catch it. And the that spicy barrel notes coming off, there's a tart sourness to it, and that's where I realize that's what's making me think of like raspberry, like a fruity raspberry note, but it's really more of that barrel. There's a tartness to it, that just boom, it hits, and that just takes over everything.
And that concludes the finish too. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm surprised how much I'm actually, after I'm sitting here, enjoying the finish on this, and it fades away, but I'm not minding it. But it almost takes like 10 seconds after I've swallowed for me to like agree to the passover, and then it's almost a different type of finish. Like it seems really aggressive at first, and then it kind of just has a nice fading after that.
It gets a little creamy, and it gets a little bit, still get that grassy hay note left in the finish for me.
Yeah. You know what I mean, obviously I don't know the intent of this whiskey, what their intent is for how it should be consumed. Obviously we're having it neat. Mm-hmm. But I would really like to try this in a highball.
I think I could see it in that.
Yeah.
I could see that. And there's another thing here where it tastes 2/3 to the finish, much more bitter for me than what I would be expecting.
Yeah.
So I think in a drink you might be able to play with that as well too. It has a nice, like, it has some decent bitterness to it. Maybe more so than what other people would prefer. I'm not a huge fan, but I like that. For me, it's really in there.
I wouldn't add water to it. The nose, I put about 4 drops of water in here. The nose became really more astringent.
Yep, I just did that.
And the palate got really bitter. And it's like almost like, kind of like a Jameson, the grain alcohol kind of note. You get that feeling, that metallic, bitter alcohol note starts to kind of overtake. I don't like it with water at all. Yeah.
Yeah, the metallic I have issues with. I'm not a big fan of that.
So I ended up going a little overboard from what you did. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of people who like whiskey and water.
Yeah.
And I did that about 50-50. That was very interesting.
Okay.
Wilson said you can't do it.
It was sweeter.
Whoa.
I missed the Irish. That was the big thing. I mean, drinking it neat, I missed the Irish.
I got a little bit of Irish, but I also, on the nose, after bringing this down to half, when I first sniffed it, more citrus, a little mint, and my mind automatically went Japanese for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was effervescent.
Yes.
It was very refreshing.
Kind of like the Toki?
Yeah, that would be, I mean, Toki's not my favorite, but I would see that there.
Way better than Toki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's the one I don't like when people are like, why don't you get that? And I'm like, no, don't get that.
It does make a good highball. Which I think was its intent.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's what exactly it was made for.
Because neat, not so much.
Yeah.
Wow, and whiskey and water, this is, for me,
it's quite a bit different.
It's got a light bit of like honey on top of the water that comes out of this.
Yeah.
And it becomes
a summer drink.
Honey water that could be dangerous. This is all of a sudden what it came to.
Okay, then what would this be like in a hot toddy? With some I'll be right back. So
maybe we can pause it.
This could be it could be interesting with a little bit of honey, hot water, and
this is one of the few ones we found that maybe not neat is okay, but maybe starting to play with it we might be having more fun playing with it than we did drinking it normal, seeing where you can find the right hole and niche for this one.
And if you drink it with water because you like it, it's going to last you twice as long.
That's true. Double the fun, like those double twins. So better get on board with them.
That's what we do. We save you money.
That's right. Yeah, weird how it lost so much when it went to the 50-50. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of the negative things didn't even exist at that point.
Right. Right. And the positives just came right up.
Yeah. Ben's looking. He's got something to say.
No, I'm processing the flavors that are still there, even after, the 50-50 bloom of the water. It's still got a lingering finish that's
It has a
little bit creamy.
longer,
It
better
reminds
finish
me,
with water.
yeah, it actually does. And it's almost puts me in the mind of like a watered down caramel.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, that was exactly right, but I'm getting just like a hint of lemon with the caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Found a home for it. That's always the best thing to do. We want to find homes for craft whiskey. And that's what we're doing here. So, thank you guys for stopping in and watching the show tonight. We appreciate it. Make sure you stop out and check on Monday night. We will be having another live episode of An Evening With. I'm not sure where this is landing, so it could be with Gary from Woodhat. That's going to be coming up soon. And also Steve Akeley from the ABV Network will be on coming up in a couple weeks as well, too. That's going to also be, those two are going to be very exciting shows. You don't want to miss them. Yeah. A lot of great information. And we want to steal some of Steve's ideas. Not really steal them. We had them beforehand, but then, you have an idea and then you see someone who's already done it and you're like, son of a bitch.
And done it well.
Steve's that guy. Steve's that guy.
That's why he's a colonel.
That's why he's a colonel. So it's nothing to be mad at there. So we'll be talking about him upcoming as well, too. So for everyone out there, remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone out there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Have it in. Some more. Just give some more.